So this will be definitely a different video. Yeah. So on Wednesday, there was a riot at the largest prison in Delaware. This led to hostages being taken that consisted of prison guards and also inmates. Where this riot took place inside of this prison, according to the news, was in an area that houses 100 prisoners. A lot like the housing units of prisons that I've been at. This riot and hostage situation also led to one prison guard being found dead. And before I go any further, I just want to say that from After Prison Show's standpoint, from my standpoint, my heartfelt sympathies go out to the family of that fallen officer. While locked up, you will have to deal with all sorts of different prison guards and staff members while in that situation. Some of them you will hate. Some of them will be complete assholes. And some of them, they won't be. But no matter what the circumstance is, no matter how big of an asshole a prison guard may or may not be, no matter what, that prison guard who lost their life during this situation in Delaware, under no circumstances whatsoever should that ever be justifiable. That man or woman simply had a job to do and died doing their job. And I don't feel that's okay at all. Now what's crazy is what this whole situation seemed to have stemmed from. I actually was doing a little bit of research after hearing about this, was watching videos, was reading news articles on this whole situation. And I actually ran across a phone call that a prisoner made to his loved one. And then that phone was then taken away from him as soon as the call went through. And it seemed that who got on the phone after him was the person who was in charge of this riot and hostage situation. And not only him, but after him, somebody else who was in on it as well. And what they said the reason for them doing this was because of Donald Trump. And because of him and everything that he has been doing as of late, he has been doing quite a bit of pretty crazy and controversial stuff that has been all over the news lately. But they said because of him and what he has been doing, that was the reason why they did this, because they felt like this was ultimately going to trickle down to the prison systems and things were going to get a lot worse for them. And these prisoners, they had demands. After the guy who seemed to be in charge of this, surely some sort of a high-ranking gang member, I can almost guarantee you it was somebody of that caliber calling the shots throughout this entire situation. But after him, someone got on the phone who had basically their list of demands, which were not very well put together whatsoever. They said that they wanted more education programs and rehabilitation programs inside of the prison. They wanted to see where money was being allocated throughout the prisons. And that was really about it. That was their reason and also their list of demands, which didn't seem very thorough, didn't seem very in-depth at all. And to be honest with you, it just sounded to me honestly like a bunch of bullshit. Bullshit. The key word of what you will deal with while being locked up. Because not only was it prison guards and staff who were held hostage in this, I believe they had 4 prison guards who were held hostage throughout this, but they also had something like 82 prisoners, actual prisoners inside of the prison who were held hostage as well. To do something of this caliber and this degree where an actual staff member is killed in the process of this, I can promise you and you can rest assured that shit is not going to get any better for you inside of that prison. In fact, what you can guarantee will happen from this is that you probably will catch a capital murder charge instead for this, for killing an officer. So your little stupid fucking demands about education and rehabilitation are not even going to fucking apply to you if for some fucking small fucking miracle of a reason they ever did decide that, oh my God, these prisoners just took the prison over and had a hostage situation. Maybe we should look into these things for them. I can promise you that they do not give a fuck about anything that you have a grievance about. You know, causing a riot and taking staff members hostage where one is actually killed is not going to help make things any fucking better for you in prison. As a matter of fact, you can bet your ass it's probably only going to get a lot worse now. Let us not forget the biggest fact, and that is that you motherfuckers are locked up. You're locked up just like I was locked up for 7 damn years. And you didn't see me in there causing no fucking riots because of the conditions inside of that place. Yes, they fucking sucked. Hell, I ate toothpaste to survive for a good period of time while I was locked up, and I wanted to kill myself for an even longer period of time while I was locked up. But guess what? I figured out a fucking way to make things better for myself. And it didn't involve a prison riot or any sort of a hostage situation. As a person who spent most of his adult life locked up, and since being released more than a year ago, I have tried so hard to move myself away from everything that was my past, and my past, for a great deal of it, was being locked up. And when people find out that I'm an ex-con, that I was in prison, I mean, they don't really look at that too kindly. And it's situations just like this one that took place in Delaware that just ended this morning after the police stormed that fucking place that don't make this any fucking better for me. Prison and prisoners will always be cast in the darkest of lights because of the fact that it is a horrible fucking place to be. There are nothing but bad people who are locked up. That is the stereotype of what prison and prisoners are all about. Bad, horrible people and horrible shit. I really feel crazy about this. And I think about this from all different aspects. From the prison guards aspect, especially for the family who just lost their loved one in this situation. I think about this from the prisoner's standpoint who had nothing to do with this whatsoever and were also taken hostage. This was absolutely senseless. I mean, it really was. You did this and you blamed it on Trump. Okay, I understand quite a bit of people don't like Trump. But how does this make it any better at all? How do you honestly expect that moving forward, things are going to get better inside of the prisons? And not only in Delaware, think about the entire country overall. I would be willing to bet that things are actually going to get worse countrywide throughout the Department of Corrections because of this situation right here. So you idiots up in Delaware, you didn't do anything at all to make things better for the prisoners. In fact, you probably only succeeded in making shit 10 times, 20 times, 100 times worse. Good fucking job, guys. You fucking nailed it. People ask me all the time, Joe, did you ever deal with any riots? Were you ever in a riot? And to be honest with you, no, I was not. But the closest that I ever came to an actual riot was something that I witnessed while in prison. It didn't happen in my housing unit. It actually happened in the building right next to my housing unit. And this is so minute in comparison to the situation in Delaware. But I'll just give you an idea of how something so small caused catastrophic consequences for the prisoners who were involved in this situation. And what had happened was this housing unit directly next to mine was placed on lockdown for something that they felt like was totally not right at all. And this lockdown was only to be for like a couple of hours. And the only reason they were placed on lockdown was so that they wouldn't be allowed to go outside to wreck. They wouldn't be able to go out on the rec yard for these couple of hours. But the prisoners inside of this housing unit felt that this was so unjust that they didn't start tearing shit apart and ripping apart the housing unit and taking hostages. They just refused to move from the day room when the prison guards came in there and said, all of you report back to your bunk areas immediately. And the prisoners, they just sat there and they didn't even move. So the prison guards said, okay, you want to do this? He got on his radio and he called the code. And what the code is when there is a major situation taking place inside of a housing unit or somewhere throughout the prison complex. And this code represents that there is some sort of a protest or riot taking place wherever that call was placed from. And then the next thing you knew, we watched as dozens of prison guards came storming out from every direction, heading toward this housing unit, running in their full tactical gear with their face shields and their body armor and their shields and their batons. And they ran right up into this housing unit and they tore this place up, beating up prisoners who refused to comply, pepper spraying the entire place. And then when it was all said and done, after the chaos had subsided, they literally backed a prison bus right up to the front door of that housing unit, driving this prison bus straight through the prison rec yard, right to the front door of that housing unit. And they loaded up that entire housing unit on that bus and they shipped them off to a maximum security level 5 penitentiary. We were at a level 2 prison where this took place at. All because you didn't want to go back to your bunk areas and you refused to move from that day room because you felt that it was unjust because you were being denied rec time. And when these prisoners were shipped off to this maximum security level 5, 23 hours of lockdown with 1 hour a day let out of your cell, they lost all of their good time completely, and their time immediately got a hell of a lot worse over something so stupid. So if you could imagine a situation that minute in comparison to what has happened in Delaware, just imagine what the repercussions are going to be for these guys who did this dumb shit up there. I can promise you that for killing this prison guard, if they do have the death penalty up there, you can bet your ass they will be seeking it. And whoever this band of prisoners were who came together to cause this situation in Delaware, you can bet that that band of prisoners will begin to unravel as those consequences get handed out, and they will begin to snitch on each other. Because what else are you gonna do? You came together for something as stupid as what you did, and in the end, it was all for nothing. So what's left for these scum of the earth pieces of shit? Nothing other than to save themselves. And how else will they do that? By telling on each other in hopes for the best case scenario. Unfortunately for them, I'm quite sure there will not be any sort of a best case scenario from this. Major prison riot, hostage situation, a prison guard ends up dead in this, high profile, national news. You motherfuckers are about to be made examples of. It's a very sad, tragic thing that happened at this Delaware prison. There are ways to go about things while locked up if things are not right or unjust. Unfortunately though, 9 times out of 10, nothing really ever changes. Your best case scenario is to just handle and face whatever it is that lies ahead of you and just try to make the best out of a fucked up situation. It is prison after all. Nothing about that is supposed to be fun or easy. Hey look, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know exactly what you think about this situation. And until next time, please enjoy life, the free world. Don't go to prison, and make the most of every day. Peace!